Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we have to market close on Thursday, September 7th. We're going to take a look at American Rebel Holdings today. Now, AREB is up, closed the day up a bit over 38%. This story came out this morning. Why is the stock up 40% today? So that sort of gives you a sense of where it started and where it ended on the day. You can read through this story if you haven't yet. We're not going to go through it, but just so you know, this is a news-driven move, as opposed to just sort of like, a meme-driven move. I don't know if there's also a meme element to it, but they are pointing the finger at that news story. So you can check that out for yourself if you want. But we're here to put in some levels on the chart, see where some support and resistance might take place, and any trend lines that have formed, and then flip over to the think or swim study and see where things are situated there. So just a brief look at where things started and where it ended today. So interestingly enough, they're talking about, the stock being up 40% this morning. And as you can see, it sort of just came back to almost where it started. It ends the day just shy of where it started this morning. So, interesting in that regard. But regardless, there is obviously a big gap up. And we can chart these things on the daily. So let's start here on the daily. And let's just make note that if ever this stock wants to come fill this gap, there's a gap that starts about 116. And I'm going to gray this out just so it's not predominant, but we'll notice it if it ever starts to enter these areas. Down to about 94 cents. So I'm just going to put that there. Now we do have, I believe, a bunch of historical price action, even relatively recent historical price action to plot some levels from. So we don't have to rely just on the intraday today or anything like that. So I'm going to start up here toward the top of about where we were today, about this 218, 220 level, and see, about what we have there. So there's a level here, I would say. Let me see how this level looks if I put it here. Okay, I would say there's a level here and there's also a level here. Where do we want to put it? I'm going to split the difference there, go about 222. Now, that's obviously quite a bit higher than where we are at the moment, so I'm going to fill in levels below that. If we need, we can certainly come back and add levels in above that 222 level. 203 looks like a level to me. There's going to be a bunch of them here. 198, a lot of pretty good price action here, actually. It's a really good level at 190. Still quite far off from where we are today, but who knows, if this thing gets some steam and gets some motion similar to what we saw today, it could get there in a few trading days. Now that's a lot to ask, and that's just to say, I'm only plotting it up there in case things get wild or continue to get wild. But of course, it very well may not get to that range at all. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I mean, all told, some of these don't have a ton of price action passing through them, but there are a lot of relatively clean levels for what they are. I'm not going to put one there at the moment. So now we're going to get tighter in to where we are situated currently. 150 or 151, because we have these fractions of pennies, so 150.9, call it. This level's a little janky, but let me see. Okay, about 143. I don't super love that, but there's like this big gap. Okay, I'm going to put this one here, 145, and then I'm going to put one, I think this is better. Put one here, actually. If I can get it where I want it. 141. Okay, so now we're getting sort of to the meat and potatoes just meaning closer into the price action where we are. So I know this is a lot of levels, but it moved through a lot of levels today. So again, just in case it does that in the future, in the near future, there's something charted. Okay, so 126, first level up that I see, and then it gets a little shallow. So we might zoom in to see if there's any levels. Well, I guess we could place a level here. Oops, nope, not there. We might put a level there, but not for these purposes. Okay, so I would say to the immediate upside, 126, 129, 135. We will hop in to see if there's something between that 129 and 135, or to sort of straighten them out a little bit. So we'll zoom into the 10-minute chart here in a moment. Take a look at that. Okay, I'm going to put this one here. To the downside, 119.7, so we'll call it 120. 113. I don't know exactly how far down we want to go here. That would put us in the gap. So, that's, I'm going to put one here at 99.6, just shy of $1. So that would probably take sort of logical shape in the sense of, the dollar being a really strong psychological level. So if we zoom into the 10-minute, this is what that looks like today. Hitting these levels, you support, resistance, finding support, resistance, but also kind of flying through some of these levels. So, some of these levels didn't pick up today. If they don't pick up in the coming days, since this is now quite a cluttered chart already, we can come in and sort them out. But, as cluttered as it looks, this is a 161 candle. This is a 155 candle. That's a pretty significant percentage change. So it appears as though, but it's just that this chart is stretching from 117 down here to 217. So it's encompassing a huge percentage. That if we have more normal days where it's not these wild percentage, high percentage swings intraday, then you will see less of these levels. So if we come back to take a look at this in the coming days and weeks, it'll make more sense at that point. But yeah, situating itself right around this 126 level that we have on the chart. Again, immediate level to the upside as I see it, 129 for resistance, 119.7 or say 120 for support below. Now flipping over to Thinkorswim. Now, one thing to just note on the Thinkorswim, we still have AREB, but we have the 1 hour. And that's just because this study, for whatever reason, doesn't do a great job on the daily. It makes it really flat. You can't really see anything. And we did most of this charting, or we did all of this charting, I guess, on the daily on AREB. So just remember, these levels are from the daily. What we're going to talk about on the Thinkorswim study is on the hour. So as it pertains to the hour time frame, we had lengthy, this is super interesting, started a few trading days ago, lengthy trigger on the TTM squeeze. And then when it fired right after market close yesterday. And that is when the move obviously was made. And so really good indicator here, like several days of triggering, and then when it fired, it really moved. Now, what it looks like today is obviously this was, lower momentum in general, because these were not during open market hours. But then we had a big jump up and then diminishing bullish momentum as the day wore on. So interested to see what that means as we get into tomorrow, because the other thing that's interesting here is it came out of the channel, and what we always look for when it comes out of the channel is when it's going to revert back to the mid-range of the channel, which is this bright blue line, which right now is situated about somewhere around like 129-ish. And not only did it come down and meet it, but it sort of fell beneath it. And now my question is it going to confirm it as resistance? And if it does, what happens when it stretches to this support level here, 114? And if it loses that, then do we come down to test the full lower bound of the channel at 98? Now those levels will all change as more candles get put in and as the channel shifts because of the additional data being put in by more candles. Now, one other thing to note, I know I called out this TTM squeeze. Just prior to that, it did a similar thing. couple days full of triggering, and then it fired and it did absolutely nothing. So just a reminder that while this is a really impressive indicator, in this instance, if you look at it in this instance, it was a complete and utter dud. So that said, it fired for a brief period of time and then re-triggered. And so sometimes the re-trigger is sort of indicating when something really, really significant is about to take place. So, from this, just to recap, what I'm most interested to see, does this bullish momentum continue to die off? And does this falling below the mid-range of the channel persist? And if so, where does it stretch? Does it stretch down to this like 110, 115, range? Or does it stretch all the way down to the 1 level, strong psychological level, probably? Or I guess the third option is, does it continue to wrestle with this range? Or fourth option, regain it. That would be a show of sort of maybe some sustained strength. If it was going to have more sustained strength, to be honest, I would have looked for it to come out and maybe either treated the upper bound of the channel as support, or at least this green cloud that you're looking at as support, but it didn't, right? It fell right into it. So, the motion right now is looking more bearish to me than anything, but it's just like one after hours candle below at the moment. And so, it could quickly swing back up and regain support over that level and then make another move. But I would really have to see it make a clear motion back up over that mid-range to have sort of confidence that it was going to surge again. But otherwise we have this gap, we have all these levels, and we can see sort of how that takes shape in the coming days. All right, folks, I hope you had a good trading day and that you finish your week off strong tomorrow. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.